Hello and welcome back to Reading for Vocabulary. I'm Brian Stewart. In this lesson, lesson 13, we're going to talk about computer movies. We'll focus on thinking about movies and books you know. Also, what kinds of characters are in them. So we're going to talk about characters in movies, but we're really going to talk about special types of characters. What types of characters? Well, we'll find out later when we do the reading. But first, let's talk about this type of movie characters that we have here. Now, this is kind of interesting. Did you see this movie, Avatar? Did you ever wonder, how did they make the characters in the movie? Well, this picture kind of tells you. This is the real actor who played this character in the movie Avatar. I'm sorry, I forgot her name, but in the movie. But of course, there's no creature that looks like this, right? This is her again, and this is what she looks like in real life. This is what she looks like in the movie. Look at the difference. Isn't that amazing? How can they do that? Well, they use computer graphics, and that's what we're going to learn about in this lesson. Also, you may have seen this movie. Do you remember this movie? This character here, my precious, right? Okay, this character, of course, is Gollum from the Lord of the Rings. Is there really a person like that? No, of course not. There is not a person like that. The actor who played Gollum actually got an award for playing Gollum, but nobody ever saw what he really looked like. He was wearing a suit, right, with all these lights on it, and when they put his image in the computer, they can make his image look like this. And who's that? Of course, that's Yoda. Yoda I am, right? I'm sorry, I'm not a very good, I can't imitate Yoda very well. But this is Yoda from Star Wars. Actually, it's kind of silly seeing him jump around, with the lightsaber, but that was Yoda. Again, there's no real creature like Yoda. There's not real. Again, it was computer graphics. So when we talk about these characters in the movies, we're going to be talking about how they can make these types of characters, especially using computer graphics. Okay, well, let's take a look at one more picture from the movies. And this movie also kind of illustrates how movie directors can make scenes, especially in the background. Of course, this person here is real, and probably the mask he's wearing on his face is real, but this scene in the background, that's not real, right? That's a computer graphic. It's probably a blue screen, right? And what these people, these actors act in front of a colored screen, and then on the computer, after they make the film, they can add all sorts of interesting images in the background to that blue screen that the actors are actually acting in front of. Okay, well, let's begin, of course, with our first word on our word list for the vocabulary. Now, this is an interesting picture. This character here, of course, there's no such thing as a skeleton that can move and hold a lamp, so that's not real. And if you saw something like that, you would be really scared, wouldn't you? Extreme fear. What is extreme fear? And this is a word used to describe certain types of movies that make you really scared. We call those horror movies. A horror movie is a movie that makes you feel extreme fear. It's horror. It's not just fear, but horror. Horror is like nomo, 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 musuwayo. Okay? Very, very, very afraid, or really afraid. Horror is a strong degree of fear, extreme fear. And if you ever saw an actual skeleton that's moving, you would probably be horrified. You would feel horror. Okay, next one. Kind of cute. What is that? Can you see the little boy here? You see his hand and you see his eyes there. This is a very simple example of the word. This is a very simple costume. A costume is something you wear to look special. Why would the kid here wear a costume like that? By the way, this is just a bed sheet. A bed sheet. It's a sheet of cloth you put on your bed. Mom took it, maybe it's an old bed sheet, and she cut 2 holes in it for the eyes. That's a very simple costume. It's kind of a very cheap costume too, but it's a costume. Costume. Now, why would a boy or girl wear a costume to look special, especially this type of costume? What's the event? Well, in America, of course, you may have heard of Halloween. Halloween is a special day of the year when kids wear costumes as monsters, as ghosts, or as popular movie characters or even singers. I heard that recently, like last year or the year before that, many American kids dressed up as Psy, right? The Korean singer, for Halloween, and they go trick-or-treating. They knock on people's doors and they say trick-or-treat, and people will give them candy, especially they're dressed up in different costumes. So, you know, any costume, it can be like a monster, it can be a ghost, or it can be famous people too. All sorts of different costumes out there. Next one, not real. Something that is not real. This man is looking at the money and trying to think, is this real or is it phony? Is it phony? A phony $20 bill, or actually that looks, it could be a euro. I'm not sure what currency that is. But if the money is not real, if it's phony, it's worthless, right? Unfortunately, there are bad people who make fake copies of money and try to use it as real money, and it's phony money. There's another word that's very common we use for that. We say fake. If something is fake, it's the same as saying phony, not real. It's fake, it's not real. It's phony, it's not real. PH is pronounced as ph, phony. Okay, so it's phony, not real, or it's fake. Okay, next one. Okay, now here we have a picture here. When I first saw this picture, I'm like, wow, is that real? It looks so perfect, doesn't it? It's a perfect town. And then I looked at the boats and I'm like, what about this boat? Is that boat real? But yes, it is real. Looking like something real is realistic. It is realistic, and of course it is real, because there are boats like that. And you can see the detail in the water. Everything here is looking very realistic. It is very realistic. We believe that this is an actual picture, and it probably is. Realistic means looking like something real. Next one. Oh, what's wrong with him? He's feeling fear. What can we say about him? Is he frightened? He is frightened. We wouldn't say he is frightening. No, we wouldn't say that. We would say he's frightened, because that's his reaction to something that is frightening. Be careful, right? We may have talked about this before. Frightening, use ing for the thing that causes someone to react by being frightened. Frightening, frightened. We could also say he is scared. He is scared, or he is afraid, right? These are all synonyms for frightened. He's frightened. He's afraid. He's scared. He saw something that is frightening. Okay? So, frightened means that he is feeling fear. Next one. Now, you know this painting, right? This is a very famous painting, painted by a very famous artist who lived in Italy a long time ago. Do you know the name of this painting? It's called the Mona Lisa, right? And why is it such a famous painting? Because it looks like a real person or thing. Even though this is just a painting, it was painted a long time ago, and it was painted with such skill that this woman, it looks lifelike. It looks lifelike. I just used that word, yeah. Lifelike. It looks lifelike. Looks like a real person or thing. Of course, the woman who modeled for this painting, she was real, but it's amazing that the artist's skill, the talent, that the artist Leonardo da Vinci could paint such a lifelike picture of the actual woman. Okay? Okay, next one. To tell the difference. Here we have a picture of many people raising their signs. They're saying yes, they're agreeing. But there's one person in the middle that says no. And they're different from the other people. That person, we can distinguish that person because we can easily see the difference. When you distinguish, when you distinguish something, that means you can see the difference. For example, can you distinguish who is the boss and who are the employees? Can you tell? Can you see the difference? Can you tell the difference between the boss and the employees? Sometimes you can't. You have to watch and see how people act. Then you can distinguish who's the boss and who are the employees. But sometimes if you just look very quickly, you can't. Other things are very easy to distinguish. It's very easy to distinguish. If you see several people and one person is blonde and the other people have brown hair, then you can easily distinguish the blonde person right away. You can tell the difference. Distinguish. Okay. This person has an idea. It's represented with this drawing. We usually use this idea, light bulb. A light bulb is turning on in her head. A light bulb is turning on in her head. That's a common idea. Having new ideas and making new things. If somebody can do this many times during the day, we call them creative because they have many new ideas. Having new ideas or making new things. If you think of new ideas, if you can think of new ways to draw or new ways to make something, then perhaps you are creative too. Also, authors are creative. They come up with different stories, like J.K. Rowling, who wrote the Harry Potter series. She's very creative to think of all those characters and all those new ideas for a story, right? So there are many creative people in the world. They think of new things and they make new things. Okay, number 9. This is a beautiful landscape, the appearance of a place. So we're looking at the appearance of a place. Don't worry about the woman, but we're looking about the appearance. You know, very interesting, distinguishing mountains, right? But if we look at some place and we say, wow, the beep is very beautiful, we say the scenery is very beautiful. It's the appearance of a place, what a place looks like. If you go up into the mountains, it's very beautiful scenery. You go to the beach, you look out over the ocean and the beach, the sand, that's beautiful scenery. Sometimes scenery isn't so beautiful. If you go to a train station, scenery is not so good. Or if you go to a town that there are many factories, the scenery is not so good. So scenery doesn't mean good or bad, it's just what things look like. What is the scenery where you live? Okay. Speed limit is 25 miles per hour. In Korea, you would say kilometers per hour. But it's the greatest amount of possible. And I said the word is actually right here. It's limit, right? The word we're looking for is limit. So limit means the greatest amount possible. That means the greatest amount you can drive, the speed that you can drive in this area is 25. Whether it's miles per hour or kilometers per hour, depends what country you're in, right? But it's the limit. You can't go over that. You cannot go over that. If you do, you'll get arrested, right? It's the greatest amount possible, in this case under the law, but it's the greatest amount possible in a certain place. It's the limit. Okay, she's having a good time, right? It looks like she's having a party. Causing great interest. That, of course, is exciting. And look, cause. The cause, we use ing. The cause, it's exciting. Her reaction would be what? Excited. You got it. Good. Her reaction would be excited. The cause is exciting. Something that causes great interest is exciting. Her reaction is excited. Okay. Now, this man, what is he doing? He looks like he's about to go swimming, right? He is standing on the end part of something, the end part of the deck, right? That's the end. What do we call that? We call that the edge. He's standing on the edge of the pool deck, right? Be careful. Don't stand on the edge of a cliff, right? If you go to see the Grand Canyon, or if you go up in the mountains and you have a good view, Don't stand on the edge. That's dangerous. Don't stand on the end part. Stay away from the edge. Okay? But the edge is the end. There's no more land. Woo! You fall off. Okay? In this case, it's okay. He's going to fall in the water and go swimming. But be careful of other edges, like on the edge of a cliff or at the mountains. Okay. Oh, you know him. That's Johnny Depp, right? He was the main character in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. A person who acts in plays or movies. What is Johnny Depp? Johnny Depp is an actor. Okay? There are many famous actors that you can probably name right away, like Johnny Depp, Brad Pitt, George Clooney. These are famous actors. Sometimes, however, people will use actor for women too. Actor is a person. Doesn't mean a man. Used to be actor was only man, but now we use that also to describe women. Before they said actress, but it's becoming more and more common now. People just say actor for men and women. Okay. Do you know this picture? This is a famous picture. What is it a picture of? It's a picture of the Loch Ness. It's a Scottish accent. Loch. It's in Scotland. In Scotland they say Loch Ness. Okay? But Loch Ness what? The Loch Ness Monster. It's the Loch Ness Monster. But it's not real. This is a fake or phony picture. It's a phony picture. It was a trick. Somebody tried to play a trick on many people and said there was a monster in the lake, a horrible creature, a terrible creature. And they said it's the Loch Ness Monster. But it's not real. But a monster is a horrible creature, a terrible creature. That would be a monster. 15, to get very cold. Whew, I feel cold just looking at this picture, right? What happened to the water around this boat? This boat is not supposed to be on snow and ice, right? This boat is supposed to be in water. It was in water, but the water got very cold. What did the water do? It freeze. To freeze, it froze. Freeze, froze, frozen. So the water around the boat froze, right? When water freezes, it turns into ice, okay? So to get very cold is to freeze. Freeze is also when a liquid turns into a solid, like water turning into ice, okay? So that is freeze. Next, not easy to do. It's not easy to climb a mountain, is it? It's very difficult. It takes a lot of effort. It's especially difficult when the mountain is covered in snow and it's very cold out. So not easy to do, something is difficult. Oh, 힘들어. Oh, 너무 힘들어, right? It's difficult. It's hard to do. Do not say, I am hard to climb the mountain. Whoops. Climb, that's M. Climb the mountain. Don't say that. This is Konglish. Many students say this. I am hard. No, not I. It. It is. Don't say I am hard. Say it is hard. It's hard to climb the mountain. Or it's difficult to climb the mountain. Okay? But please stop saying this if you're saying this. I am hard. I am difficult. No. It is difficult to climb the mountain. It is difficult to walk up the stairs. Okay? It, the situation, not you. Okay? It is hard to climb the mountain. It is difficult to climb the mountain. Okay, so something's difficult, it is hard to do it. Let's go over the exercises here. In the exercises, we should complete each sentence with a word from the box. These are the sentences. These are our words. Let's review the words before we begin. First, we have horror. Horror. Next, costume. Costume. Next is phony. Phony. Next, we have realistic. Realistic. Next is frightened. Frightened. Next is lifelike. Lifelike. And distinguish. Distinguish. Finally, we have creative. Creative. Okay, those are the words in the box. Let's see where they go in the sentences. Number 1, the bad boys. Napanaladi, right? Did you say napanaladi? You just say naladi, right? You said naladi, right? Bad boys. Okay. The bad boys made beep phone calls to the fire station. Oh, those bad boys! They were making phone calls to the fire station that were not real. They weren't true. That's terrible. Don't do that. Okay? The bad boys made, what's not real? What word means not real or fake? Phony. The bad boys made phony phone calls to the fire station. This is really bad. Don't ever do that. Don't ever make a phony phone call to the fire station or the police. It could be very dangerous. It's very bad to do. The nomu napun boys. I think you say naladi, right? Very bad boys. Very bad boys. They shouldn't do that. Number 2, an expert can beep real pearls from imitations. So an expert, this is kind of similar to phony, right? Think about real pearls from imitations. Imitations would be phony pearls. Now, what is a pearl? A pearl is a precious, it's like a stone. You find it in an oyster or a clam. It's a round, white, and sometimes very beautiful if you get a good pearl. Very beautiful like stone, and people will use it in jewelry, especially necklaces. Now, of course, an expert can tell, because some people try to copy the real pearl from nature, right? But an expert can tell the difference. What's another word for tell the difference? Another word that we talked about here is distinguish. Distinguish. So an expert can distinguish real pearls from imitations. It means an expert can tell the difference between a real pearl and a phony pearl, an imitation, a fake pearl. Okay? And of course you have to be careful. There's people out there who try to cheat. They'll make phony money. They'll make phony pearls. They'll make phony gems, diamonds and things like that. But how do you know? Usually experts can look at them and they know, because they're experts. They know a lot about their subject. Okay, next one, number 3. I don't believe that you can fly. I don't believe that you can fly. Who can fly? I don't believe anybody can fly. Please be more what? So in this situation, one person is telling this person that, oh, hey, I can fly. You can fly? I don't believe you can fly. Please be more what? Please be more realistic. Don't be silly. Don't, make up things. Don't make phony beliefs or phony statements. Be realistic. In other words, something that is real or true to life. Okay. 4. This fake flower is really what? It's interesting. A lot of these sentences are using fake, phony, imitation. A lot of the subjects, a lot of these words have to do with that idea. So this fake flower, not a real flower, but a fake flower is really what? Is really lifelike. It's fake, but it looks lifelike. It looks like it's real. It's lifelike. Okay. Next one, 5. The old woman likes to wear a traditional beep all the time. Now here we have traditional and here we have wear. What can you wear here? The only thing you can wear is a costume. But here we have traditional. Now the example I used for costume, and we saw, was of the little boy in a bedsheet. He looked like a ghost, right? And of course it's costume. But in this case, it's a traditional costume. Costume isn't always, about for Halloween. People don't just wear costumes on Halloween when they want to look like a ghost or a monster or a famous person. Sometimes costume also means the traditional clothes of a people or a culture, right? If you think about it, what is the traditional costume for Koreans? Hanbok, right? It's what Koreans would have worn a long time ago, 100 years ago. You could also say that is a costume. In Germany, they would wear Lederhosen, right? It's a traditional German dress for Germany. Every country has different traditional costumes. They're special clothes that people wear for special occasions, okay? So they can be costumes also. Number 6, she was beep to see a stranger in the dark alley. She was what? If you see a stranger, somebody you don't know, in a dark alley, it's dark. This could be surprising. You could be a little musuwaya. You could be a little what? You could be a little frightened. She was frightened to see a stranger in the dark alley. She was frightened. By the way, it's funny, just a little story about Korean. I remember musuwa, because you know the big SUV, the muso? I think, oh, musuwa, so I am afraid. Okay, so long hey, I'm sorry. But that's just funny, is sometimes you use these little tricks to remember words, okay? So you know the car called muso, it comes, I'm afraid. Musuwa, I'm sorry. Okay, next one. Okay, number 7. A good writer has a great beep talent. A good writer, what do writers do? Writers have to think of new ideas. They have to make new stories, right? So somebody who can make new ideas or think of new ideas and make new things, we call those people creative. A good writer has a great creative talent, a creative talent. They can make or think of new things. 8, I was filled with beep at the sight of the dead body. Ugh. If you saw a dead body, how would you feel? Now, you would feel frightened, but you're not filled with frightened. You're filled with horror. I was filled with horror at the sight of the dead body. So maybe you're frightened by a dead body, but you are filled with horror at the sight. So that's kind of a special construction for using horror. You are filled with horror at the sight of something. That's a common collocation. It's a common expression, common usage. Okay, so those are our words, some good words and some good sentences to learn those. Again, like I said, we can see a lot of them are about, distinguishing between something that's phony and something that's real, a lot of these. And of course, that's what the reading passage will be about. And we're going to go over that in just a second, so don't go away.